6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Prime Minister addressing Cabinet meeting in Islamabad says the dream of development cannot be realized until the country gets rid of terrorism. Shehbaz Sharif has strongly condemned Israel's latest suspension of humanitarian aid to the Palestinian territories. The Deputy Prime Minister and the American Shahzad Zafar at a meeting in Islamabad have agreed to strengthen economic and trade relations. The Senate today passed a resolution unanimously urging the government to promote solar energy to mitigate the effects of climate change. The All-Parties Hurriyat Conference has criticized India's attempts to portray the volatile situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as normal through propaganda. Talks between Ukraine and the United States have kicked off in Jeddah to end the Moscow-Kiev war. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif has urged the federal cabinet members to work tirelessly to bring a developmental revolution in the country. He was addressing the first cabinet meeting following the induction of new ministers of state, special assistants and advisors in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister said the progress of all ministries will be evaluated after every 3 months and the results of these reviews will be made public to achieve better outcomes. He said the dream of development cannot be realized unless peace is established in the country and the menace of terrorism is eradicated. The Prime Minister said terrorism has resurfaced in the country, particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. He said the security forces personnel are rendering sacrifices in the fight against terrorism which will not go in vain. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has announced to establish Danish University in Islamabad, utilizing £190 million transferred from the United Kingdom's National Crime Agency to the Supreme Court of Pakistan. He made the announcement while chairing a steering committee meeting of Danish University of Applied and Emerging Sciences in Islamabad today. The meeting was informed that £190 million have been transferred to the federal government's account through the Supreme Court. The Prime Minister thanked the Chief Justice of Pakistan for transferring the amount to the federal government. The Prime Minister directed the completion of legal requirements for acquiring the land for the university. He also instructed the swift finalization of university's charter and other legal matters. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has strongly condemned Israel's latest suspension of humanitarian aid, including food and medicines, from entering the Palestinian territories. In his social media post on X, Shehbaz Sharif also condemned cutting off power supply that threatens to limit water supplies in the area. He said such repressive measures during the holy month of Ramzan are highly condemnable as they endanger the life of millions of innocent Palestinians, including women and children. The American Shahzad Zafar, Natalie A. Baker, called on the Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, Senator Mohammad Ishaq in Islamabad today. During the meeting, both the sides agreed to strengthen economic and trade relations, as well as cooperation in counter-terrorism and security domains. Meanwhile, Pakistan's ambassador-designate to the Netherlands, Syed Haider Shah, paid a farewell call on the Deputy Prime Minister Mohammad Ishaq in Islamabad today. While wishing him success on his new assignment, Ishaq asked him to further strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries, particularly in the economic domain. He also advised the ambassador-designate to facilitate the provision of consular services and other assistance to Pakistani residents in the Netherlands. The Minister for Finance and Revenue, Mohammad Aurangzeb, has said the country received a record high inflow of remittances amounting to $3.1 billion last month. Talking to media alongside Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Ataullah Tarar, in Islamabad today, conveyed his gratitude to Pakistanis living abroad for sending remittances to the country. He said Pakistan is expected to complete the current year at an all-time high annual inflow of $36 billion. Mohammad Aurangzeb said 52,000 new investors have entered the stock market. The finance minister said 7 initial public offerings have taken place on the stock exchange during the last 1 year, which is significantly higher compared to the past. He said the Federal Board of Revenue has initiated an improved and automated sugar production monitoring system to streamline the production of sugar mills. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. The Senate was informed today that the Federal Public Service Commission is in the process for the revision of the CSS syllabus. The Minister for Law and Justice, Azam Nazir Tarar, informed the House during question hour that a committee headed by the Minister for Planning, S. N. Iqbal, has also held discussions with relevant stakeholders and finalizing the draft for reforms in the civil service. The House also unanimously passed a resolution urging the government to take all necessary steps to promote and support adoption of green energy, particularly solar energy, to mitigate the effects of climate change. The Senate session has now been prorogued. 21 days are left for illegal foreigners and Afghan citizen card holders to leave Pakistan. The government has given a deadline for illegal foreigners and Afghan citizen card holders to leave the country by the 31st of this month. The government has assured that no mistreatment will occur during the process and have made arrangements for food and health facilities for those returning. The All-Party Hurriyat Conference has condemned the statements by the Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Kashmir. In a statement, the All-Party Hurriyat Conference spokesman Advocate Abdur Rashid Minhas criticized the Indian government's attempts to portray the volatile situation in the territory as normal through high-profile visits and propagandas. He said the Indian minister in his remarks distorted the well-established historical facts about the Jammu and Kashmir dispute, leveled baseless allegations and hurled threats against Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan. The All-Party Hurriyat Conference spokesperson said such statements aim to obscure the grim realities on the ground in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and reflect an old habit of the Indian rulers misleading their people. Meanwhile, Travel Agents Association of Kashmir has taken a strong note of the indecent fashion show in Gulmarg. In a statement, it termed it outrageous and a blatant disregard for the local religion, culture, tradition, and sensitivities. The association has sought a time-bound, in-depth probe into the conduct of the obscene fashion show at Gulmarg. The statement said the incident has hurt the religious and cultural sentiments of the locals. Talks between Ukraine and the United States have started in Jeddah to end the Kiev-Moscow war. The American Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the National Security Advisor Mike Waltz are holding talks with the Ukrainian National Security Advisor, Foreign Minister and Defense Minister. Hockey. Germany's junior hockey team beat Pakistan by 2-1 in the third match of the 4-match Friendship Series in Lahore today. The last match of the series will be played in Islamabad on Thursday at 3:30 in the afternoon. And finally, the weather report. Rain, wind and thunderstorm with snowfall over the hills is expected at isolated places in the Potawar region, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, northern Balochistan, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan during the next 12 hours. Partly cloudy weather is likely elsewhere in the country. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.